Another world is possible is not just a slogan, but a cry that captures the struggles, hopes and aspirations of millions. Over 300 million indigenous peoples in 70 countries across the globe keep this hope alive by their continuous struggle against every form of exploitation, torture, displacement and decimation of the life on the planet. The indigenous peoples at large not only face the wrath of poverty, malnutrition, illiteracy and landlessness, but are also increasingly forced to face the threat of displacement from their own habitat and alienation from their culture due to mega projects and industrialization. All in the name of development.
Zélia Amador de Deus para falar sobre a África e a diáspora nas Américas.
Brasileiros, negras e negros do continente americano.
More than 190 different indigenous communities of Amazon came to the 9th edition of the World Social Forum held at Belém do Pará in Brazil from 27th January to 1st February 2009 with one goal: to reassert and demand what is their due. The colorful inaugural march by 100,000 delegates on 27th January, starting on the banks of River Amazon, witnessed the vibrant diversities of the struggles in Africa, Asia and Latin America. The March of Solidarity brought the struggles of children, women, youth and various religious groups under one banner. Monopolizing monolithic signs of globalization were challenged by the surge of the pluralistic cultures through their ethnic music and dance. The dignified march of the Amazonian tribes, in the midst of deafening but soul-stirring drumbeat and music, unfolded the determination of their ongoing struggle. WSF at Belém had one orientation: Amazonia. Destruction of the rainforests, flora and fauna of Amazon symbolize the gradual destruction of the planet in the name of development. WSF was truly a clarion call to build another world by joining hands and hearts with the civil societies and solidarity groups. 130,000 people from 142 countries, belonging to 5,808 organizations, congregated at the WSF venue. Most conspicuous among them were 1,900 indigenous peoples, belonging to 190 tribes. More than 2,300 activities, which included animated panels,
but what happened with our people?
Heated debates, enlightening seminars.
But the big question is, civil society movement for the third world now?
Mas eu sou ameaçado de morte, junto com mais 2 bispos desta região leste da Amazônia.
Brevemente, nós já vamos ver
o significado,
colorful cultural events, endless marches and protests, and open spaces for direct interactions in this confluence in the heart of Amazon. Global economy, war, peace, human rights, rights of indigenous peoples.
All our struggle together is about justice and about humanity.
Women, children were some of the major themes in many seminars and workshops. The Jesuits of Amazon region organized 2 major workshops which were the crowd pullers. The Sapi led the participants of the workshop through an indigenous form of prayer.
Yet is a creative force.
South Asian People's Initiatives has been part of the struggle of the indigenous peoples of South Asia, the Dalits and the tribals in particular, since its inception in 2004. 29 delegates, mostly representing various indigenous communities from India and Afghanistan, participated in the forum to build alliances and networks between South Asia and other indigenous communities of the world. One of the objectives of the participation of SAPI in Belém was to build solidarity networks with other indigenous communities. This objective took concrete shape in the form of a workshop on indigenous peoples to challenge developmental terrorism.
Or every now and then we have police firing on the protesters.
A way and mechanism by which we can build that network much more practical.
Jointly organized with Amazonian groups.
Everybody to be the trees.
Casi todos los pueblos indígenas tenían una ley que protegía las tierras indígenas.
In America, almost all of the indigenous peoples had laws which protected their own land.
Is important. And therefore empowerment of people by them, through them is important.
SAPI's participation culminated in articulating the demand through a joint declaration of the indigenous community.
Binayak Sen is in the custody.
Raising and uniting voices of solidarity, SAPI delegates brought to the fore human rights violations against Dalits and Adivasis, communal and ethnic violence, and the destruction of Jal, Jungle and Jameen in South Asia at various seminars and conferences. The participation of delegates was not limited to seminars and conferences. In keeping with the indigenous way of life, songs, dances, street plays, colorful demonstrations enlivened their participation. The Amazonian indigenous peoples who stayed at the WSF venue extended an invitation to the South Asian delegates to share a meal with them. It was an occasion for the participants to listen to one another, the joys and sorrows, hopes and aspirations, and celebrate the cultural repertoire through songs, dances and communal meal. The bond of kinship was strengthened when the SAPI delegation acknowledged the Amazonian chief as their own, and the Amazonians in turn honoring the SAPI leader. The traditional body painting gifted on some of the SAPI delegates and the exchange of symbolic gifts left lasting memories in the participants.
Belgium, England.
A well-planned pre-World Social Forum brought together 120 Jesuits and their collaborators across the world. Religious faiths and their defense of life was the theme the participants grappled with. Contextualizing the process on faith, the groups experienced at a deeper level the realities we are called to respond. The resource persons were Ms. Marina Silva, a senator from Amazon region, Brother Frei Beto, a theologian and political advisor, and Father Jose Comlin, a well-known liberation theologian.
Mas quando a gente está movido por propósito, por princípios, por valores, não é? Que orientam a nossa ação, sobretudo por uma visão
que as diferentes tradições religiosas ressaltam e denominam. Mas ser amoroso, ser justo, isso é humano.
Isso do catecismo não é coisa séria. Então, esse esquema ficou desacreditado. Depois disso,
trazendo presente todas as pessoas.
In addition, 6 grassroots organizations representing Colombia, Brazil, Africa and South Asia shared their experiences of faith.
Next. There is greater participation from all sections of people.
It was a great moment of universality, diversity of committed involvement, an encounter of rich cultural and religious heritage. It was indeed the spirit of the pre-forum that showed the participants that the WSF was not a mere passing protest rally or series of passionate speeches, but a joyful celebration of their vision of another world. On the 3rd day of World Social Forum, the Jesuits and their collaborators celebrated an Ignatian Day.
Este trabajo social brings the understanding of faith in a very different way.
We are making this participatory.
The indigenous Eucharist organized by SAPI on this day was a fitting finale to the pre-forum.
Life goes on and we go on celebrating.
Eu só canto o canto da verdade, não aturo a mentira, o desatino.
The 9th World Social Forum culminated in the Assembly of Assemblies adopting a number of proposals and resolutions for the world community to work on in 2009.
En el año de 2009 vamos a fortalecer las movilizaciones que desarrollamos anualmente.
Due to the positive pressure exerted by civil society and indigenous groups and the collapse of the market-oriented capitalist economy, the World Social Forum this time emerged as a powerful political force for progressive change.
Leaving the lands,
200 million people in India.
Programs of action were chalked out for regional level implementation. To cap it all, the 21 thematic statements that were read out include sovereignty and autonomy for indigenous peoples, right to land, decent work, education and health for all, democratization of media and knowledge. The next centralized World Social Forum in 2011, to be held at Dakar, Senegal, West Africa, will take forward these causes and commitments.
They are called Ribeirinhos.
The members of SAPI, who were moved and inspired by the fire of solidarity and oneness in the midst of millions at Belém, are now prepared to spread the fire in their respective communities. The entire world to be aglow with the fire of solidarity and strength, power and passion, faith and fraternity of the indigenous peoples is not far off.